In the air to right field. Way back there. Fair, foul, and
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Episode 3 of Season 2 of Fair or Foul here on WTBU Sports. I'm Daniel Maltz.
I'm Jacob Lintner.
I'm Ben Silver.
And we're so happy you giving us a listen. So last episode, we previewed the National League teams and all that, and today we're going to focus primarily on the American League playoff teams. We'll take a look at the 2 wildcard teams, the 3 other teams in the AL playoffs. But before we do that, let's just take a couple of minutes to recognize the great NL wildcard game that was played last night. The Nationals come back in the bottom of the 8th with a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck. They overcome the Brewers 4-3, and they are now off to LA to take on the Dodgers.
Yeah, anytime I can see a Josh Hader blown save, I'm always a little bit happy. But especially when it comes to the playoffs, I mean, poor Trent Grisham. Sad that this is going to be just his career now, but
the next Fred Snodgrass.
Who is Fred Snodgrass?
You don't know Fred Snodgrass? Snodgrass's muff, 1912 World Series. Dropped I forget the exact play. In the 1912 World Series, he
Wasn't
booted
his name
a play.
Fred Merkel?
Wait, Snodgrass. Fred. No, there's Fred Merkel. There's Merkel's boner. No, okay. Was it also Fred Snodgrass? Okay, now you're getting me confused. I should know my. Yeah, it is Fred Snodgrass as well. Fred Snodgrass and Fred Merkel were they were both Fred. Maybe Curse of the Freds.
There's a few Freds out there, right?
I just wanted to come back. Snodgrass's muff sounds like something real different from baseball.
Yeah, I know, but it is actually called. Well, you have Snodgrass's muff and Merkel's boner. It goes really well together, doesn't it? Yeah, I know.
We're really
I know.
towing the line here.
It's totally real. It's totally baseball history.
I know it's real, but yeesh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he dropped a fly ball in the 1912 World Series. But
I mean that's a little bit different from what happened here. I mean Grisham just didn't field a line drive cleanly, and that allowed an extra run to score.
Yeah.
Either way, I thought anybody reasonably could have assumed the momentum was all Milwaukee's going into that inning. Brandon Woodruff was really solid in his 4 innings of work, and then Brent Suter was solid, scoreless 5th. And then Drew Pomeranz, I don't know what the Milwaukee Brewers did to him, but he's unhittable. He was hitting 97, 98 miles an hour out of the bullpen after he was sitting 90, 91. His whole career as a starter. Whatever the Brewers did to him, they turned him into a superstar reliever. He was unhittable. And then they were saying on the broadcast that the biggest problem for the Nationals all game was that they were chasing a lot of high fastballs, and that was basically the only thing Josh Hader threw to them. He had no control of his breaking ball, and he threw a bunch of high fastballs, and they either laid off the ones that were out of the zone, and then eventually Juan Soto caught one.
I mean, the other thing you mentioned, Drew Pomeranz. Who expected the Drew Pomeranz comeback, especially after 2018 and the first half of 2019? Who expected, Drew Pomeranz will go to the Brewers of all teams and become an elite reliever after being just an absolute crap starter for the past 2 years, especially with those world champion Red Sox. I want to say, what was the year? Oh, he didn't even pitch in the postseason in 2018. I mean, he's kind of been a joke the past few years, and it's really interesting to see. I mean, not an entire revitalization of his career, but a good half of his season.
I would go so far as to say that.
Yeah.
Since he's come to the Brewers, he's got like 15 strikeouts per 9, and he's throwing 6 miles an hour harder. I'd say that's a revival.
Yeah, his ERA was above 6 with the Red Sox last year.
Yeah,
and it was above 9 earlier this year with San Francisco.
I'm not sure half a year is enough to call it a revival. Once he has a good year next year, that's a revival, and I think he's well on the way to a revitalization. Just not quite there yet. Great job though, Drew Pomeranz.
See, now I know that they're not going to assign an MVP of this game because it's not the All-Star game and it's one game, so they're trying to be real here. Yeah, if I was to pick a wild card game MVP, I know that most people would think Juan Soto. No, the MVP of this game is Steven Strasburg. This is the first time that in a do or die playoff game that Steven Strasburg has been available to pitch, and he goes out there and he throws 3 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts in relief of Max Scherzer. I mean, who knows what the Brewers were kind of getting to Scherzer. Scherzer wasn't unhittable, but he wasn't bad. But Strasburg comes in 3 scoreless innings, and he had some nasty stuff.
Oh yeah.
I always, he's had nasty stuff from the second he jumped onto the baseball stage as a college pitcher back in 2009. But over the course of his career, as he's lost his velocity a little bit, he's got a ridiculous changeup. He throws it like 87, high 80s to around 90 with so much downward movement. It's like Masahiro Tanaka's splitter. It's unhittable.
Yeah, no, I love to see it. He's not only does he have a great movement on all his pitches, but he had dominant control as well. Something that you really, especially of his off-speed pitches, something that you really didn't see from Brandon Woodruff early in the game. I'm kind of surprised that the Nationals didn't do more damage earlier in the game, especially Woodruff really did not have good control of his off-speed pitches, and he wasn't really throwing them either. I'm surprised that Nationals weren't just
walk anybody.
I know, but even still, it's when he threw his off-speed pitches, you could see he felt uncomfortable doing it. And I'm surprised the Nationals didn't just sit fastball and find a way to crush it.
Because he was well locating his fastball sitting around 100.
I mean, it's a great fastball.
That's tough to do regardless of how good of a hitter you are.
Yeah, I'd say
How many
just
innings was it?
4.
4. Yeah, I guess. But second time through, I'm surprised no one got to him.
I don't know. Kind of the bigger issue though. I don't know how much I believe in curses and superstitions, but with the Nationals, they're never going to do damage in the postseason. I think that's just a fact.
Yeah,
with the
I like
Washington
that.
Nationals franchise.
Good. I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
I know you like the Nationals being cursed. You like the Brewers being eliminated.
Oh yeah.
It's a win-win, I guess, for everybody. But this Nationals team going into the postseason, I don't think they can beat the Dodgers. I don't.
No.
That's a very difficult argument to make, but I don't think it's going to be as easy of a win for LA as people are saying it is.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to face Patrick Corbin, Steven Strasburg, Max Scherzer
On short rest.
Scherzer's going to pitch Game 3. They'll probably go. Corbin's going to have to start Game 1 at this point.
They've already announced it that he will.
So yeah, Corbin Game 1, probably Strasburg Game 2, and then Scherzer Game 3 on 5 days rest. I mean, and then if it goes back to Game 4 again, you'll face Anibal Sanchez, and hopefully the Nationals are winning the series 2-1 so that they can survive that game. And then it's Corbin again. That's tough. Like, I don't care how good the Dodgers lineup is, especially with all their lefties in there. You have to face Corbin twice. If you have to face him twice, he can shut you down twice.
Yeah, the only fear is that, if anything does happen to Patrick Corbin or in the 3 games that series he doesn't start, what are the Nationals going to do as soon as their starters kind of get a little bit worn down? We all know that bullpen's not doing anything.
I mean, that's it. Yeah.
I love that bullpen. I remember for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, they kept trotting out Trevor Rosenthal. Took him a solid, I want to say, 3 weeks to pick up an out, and eventually he did it against Andrew Knapp of all people, because Andrew Knapp is the cure-all for any pitcher. But I mean, Trevor Rosenthal, really, I think his ERA was he didn't have an ERA, and for a while when he did, it was in the 80s. But I love that Nationals bullpen.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for them from here on out. But you got to give congrats to them. They stuck with it against probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest, reliever in baseball. They put a comeback together. They got a little bit of luck, and they're going to LA. So, congrats to Washington. Let's hop into the American League, where starting tonight, just a few short hours after the recording of this episode, is the American League wildcard game in Oakland between the A's and the Tampa Bay Rays. The pitching matchup confirmed, Sean Manaea against Charlie Morton. And I'm very happy with this decision, because last season in the wildcard game, the A's decided to start Liam Hendricks, go opener, go bullpen game. It didn't work. And I think Manaea has been very good since he's come off the IL. 1.21 ERA. He's their best pitcher when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. He has to start this game.
Yeah, and the other thing about the Rays is I forget exactly what was going on with Blake Snell at that point last year, but I feel the Rays didn't make the wild card game at all.
Weren't in the
it was
playoffs
2 years ago. And I'm thinking of the A's. Last year was the A's. The Rays, I can't even remember the last time they were in the playoffs. But I mean, the Rays do have a great pitcher to trot out there. I mean, a Cy Young candidate in Charlie Morton. I personally love him.
He is nasty.
Filthy.
Mm-hmm.
I hate facing him.
Yeah, and
so much.
Not just does he have great stats, but he's got great peripherals as well. He's got a great FIP, which even says that he's been almost unlucky this season with a 3.05 ERA. He should be better. 240 strikeouts, 11.1 per 9.
He's also, dare I say, clutch in the postseason.
Multi.
Heike got what did he?
How dare you?
What did he get?
Don't say that word.
He got a 4-inning save in Game 7 of the World Series. Shut the Yankees down in Game 7 of the ALCS that year. Dare I say, Mr. Morton knows how to win a big playoff game when he's gotta.
Yeah, I guess.
To hear what Ben has to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, although I do want to say that during the pregame show yesterday, all the analysts on there were talking about how for all of the players, it's just another game. You know, some rookies might have some trouble because they've never been there before, but for the guys who have been there before, for the guys who have been to the postseason, there's they treat it no different than any other baseball game that they play.
Yeah, that's case in point with Charlie Morton. This is his third straight season being in the playoffs. His third straight season being in the playoffs as this kind of reborn pitcher that he's become since he joined the Houston Astros. I'm very excited for this game because the truth is that you did a lot of people from what I was seeing didn't say this about the NL game. A lot of people were saying that this was the Nationals were going to win this game. You look at this game, these two teams are so evenly matched in so many areas. I have absolutely no clue who's going to win this game.
I'm actually really excited. I was excited for Nationals Brewers, and I had a clear favorite in that game. I very much wanted the Nationals to lose, and I like the Brewers. They were sort of my NL team, but I mean,
your NL team's the Phillies?
Well, I know, but for the postseason, they were the team that I was going to root for in the NL.
Gotcha.
I love both of these
choice.
teams. I mean, if I had to choose an AL team just at all, other than the Red Sox, it would be the Rays or the A's would be my number 2 or 3. They're both they're fun teams to watch, especially when neither of them have really any star power. They don't have big players. They've got a lot of scrappy little guys. It's Moneyball over there.
See, but I wouldn't even call a lot of the players on these. Yes, that's how they build their teams. But there are a lot of players on this team who are not scrappy little guys.
I mean that as a team, as a whole. Not the players are scrappy little dudes.
No, I know. I mean, I get it. You're trying to say like they're a ragtag bunch that have come together on the dime and put up a ridiculous season like they have. But there's a lot of very talented players on this team.
Oh, I'm not saying they're not talented.
You got Charlie Morton and Blake Snell in Tampa's rotation. Tommy Pham, he may not be the best player, but former Cardinal.
Miss Tommy.
He is such a leader in that Rays clubhouse. They've got a couple of really good-looking rookies. Austin Meadows, Brandon Lau, Tyler Glasnow, a ridiculously good bullpen. And then you look at the A's. They have probably the most underrated infield in baseball with Matt Olson, Marcus Semien, and Matt Chapman.
Hey, don't forget Jurickson Profire and his 218 batting average.
No, I am going to forget about him. But those other 3 guys are so scary. Not to mention that Mark Canha probably had again, underrated. That's the story of these two teams. Mark Canha had one of the most underratedly brilliant second halves in the league this season. And especially in the 7 games the Yankees played against the A's in the second half, no one annihilated this team anywhere near like Mark Canha did. But I think for a 1-game playoff, I think this is going to be a really close matchup.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Multi kind of took my whole talking point there.
Oh, dang. I'm sorry.
The corner infield of Matt Olson, Matt Chapman. Just 2 underrated guys who can slug the heck out of the baseball. I'd love to see that.
It really bothers me that never really happened with the Phillies with Hoskins and Franco. I didn't really have expectations for Franco by the time Chapman and Olson were around, but I really thought Olson and Hoskins really profiled as similar players, especially coming up at about the same time, having a very similar first month and a half of the season where Hoskins hit 18 in his first
Yeah, what disappointing seasons those 2 guys had.
Well, I mean Franco we knew was going to be a disappointment.
Hoskins more.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean the crazy thing is I think at the All-Star break his OPS was something like 920, and then in the second half he barely hit his weight.
There's no way he hit his weight in the second half.
He might have.
There's no way. He's a big dude. What's he weigh?
225, I think.
225. I would bet.
Well, let's see.
That's what he hit for the whole season, Ben. There's no way he hit that well.
Yeah, okay,
in the
you're right.
second half.
You're definitely right.
Anyway.
Well, let's see. Let's put this to the test. Yeah, wow, I was right. 225. He's 226. So he did his weight. Second half splits are gonna put him at 170.
Yeah. Reese Hoskins is
180.
180. There you go.
even-
I
Nine-
win.
931 at
that.
the All-Star break, though.
Whoop-de-doo. He had the anti-Jack Flaherty.
Yeah.
But I mean, back to the game at hand. You know, we're talking about
Back to non-Phillies.
back to anything except the Phillies.
Mood.
One of the things I love about the Rays too is just the, I don't know, kind of underrated acquisition of Jesus Aguilar to that lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, he really came on that second half. He, with Milwaukee, he was hitting 225. He had 225, 320, 374 splits. But with the Rays, a 760 OPS, not great, but a 103
Much
OPS
better.
plus, but much better than what he was doing with Milwaukee. And he's really just solidified wherever.
He's a great right-handed power bat to either. Probably with Sean Manaea on the mound, he's probably going to start in this game, although their other first baseman, Ji-Man Choi, also a very underrated season. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, I may be wrong, but I remember I think they said this in one of the Yankee games that they played in the last week of the season, that Choi actually hits lefties better than righties. So maybe not.
Verse splits.
But I think the game changer for these two teams, we could agree that, between Manaea and Morton, that's a great pitching matchup. They've both got great offensive pieces, but these two teams have two of the best bullpens in the American League, and that's going to play such a huge role. You look at the A's, Yusmeiro Petit, he doesn't throw 90 miles an hour. So productive for them. His whip was like .8. Crazy good. Ryan Buchter, serviceable lefty. They've still got Blake Trinan, who still has crazy good stuff. He didn't have a good year, but it may pan out. And then Liam Hendricks. I mean, this guy has slowly, since he's become a reliever 5 or 6 years ago, worked his way up the ladder of reliever dominance. And this season, what a breakout campaign. This postseason, he's going to be a right-handed Josh Hader for me. He's got a ridiculous fastball, a wipeout breaking ball. He's got the ability to strike out more guys than anybody, and he can give you 2 innings when he needs to. And I think I need to look at the specific playoff rosters, because there's one player on the A's who I don't know if he made the team.
Yeah, but while you're looking that up, Multi,
Yeah.
Liam Hendricks, 1.8 ERA, 37.4% strikeout rate. Guy's just been dominant, downright unhittable at times this season. It's been having a great year, but I just saw a fist pump
Yeah,
from Multi.
multi has.
I'm very happy. Well, actually, I probably shouldn't be happy about this, but I'm happy for the A's that their young left-handed prospect Jesus Luzardo made the wild card game roster. He was the guy. He's on the tip of. He was. I had his name. I just didn't know if he'd made the playoff roster or not. But 12 innings pitched as a September call-up this year, and this kid's ridiculously unhittable. He throws high 90s two-seam /sinker with crazy good movement. He's got a great curveball, and he's another one of those guys. He could kind of do Steven Strasburg's job as to what Strasburg did in the NL game. He can go out there, give you 2 innings out of the pen. Or they've got another guy, Chris Bassett, crazy good stuff, good fastball, a good folly floater, Uncle Charlie, that he throws around 70 miles an hour. But so we talk about the A's bullpen. The Rays bullpen is just as good.
Can I talk about my favorite player on the Rays bullpen for just a moment?
Depends on who it is.
Nick Anderson.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I love Nick Anderson. His strikeout to walk rate, well, with the Rays, his strikeout to walk rate, 20.5. Can I repeat that again? 20.5.
21 in the third innings with Tampa Bay, 41 strikeouts on 1 walk.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
crazy.
fantastic. 17.3 strikeouts per 9. Oh my. Who is this guy?
He wasn't.
He's a 28-year-old rookie who started the season with the Marlins. The Rays come out of nowhere, pick him up with a 3.92 ERA, and suddenly he turns into effing Zach Britton in 2014.
Let me wow you over here. He might have had a 3.92 ERA, but his FIP was 2.71, which means he was getting really unlucky. And you look at his numbers for the whole season: 65 innings, 110 strikeouts on just 18 walks, with a 2.35 FIP. I mean, he's crazy, and he's a 2-pitch pitcher, like so many of the best relievers nowadays. Good fastball, good slider. I mean, you talk about underdog stories. This guy was a 32nd round pick in the 2012 draft by the Brewers, bouncing around to all different places till he ends up on the Marlins. And he looked pretty good when he was on the Marlins, striking out 14 batters per 9 and all that. But I mean, since the Tampa Bay Rays have always been famous for being able to turn bad pitchers into good pitchers and turn good pitchers into great pitchers, and sometimes bad pitchers into great pitchers. Skip that middle step. They've done it. They did it with They did it with Tyler Glasnow. They've done it with Nick Anderson, and the best part about the Rays, or the scariest part, I should say, about the Rays, is that their bullpen is so much deeper. After Anderson, you have Emilio Pagan. Diego Castillo's got crazy stuff. Chaz Rowe has the wackiest slider in baseball. Oliver Drake, the guy who played for 5 teams last year, I think 4 or 5 teams last year.
He's found a home in Tampa.
He has. Let's see. Yeah, last year Oliver Drake. Nope. It was 5. Last year Oliver Drake played for and got released by the Brewers, then the Indians, then the Angels, then the Blue Jays, and then the Twins. He was good on the Twins, but 5 teams. I feel like I've been talking nonstop for the last 5 minutes because I just can't stop hyping up these 2 teams' bullpens. They're so good. I will. One last thing. I will happily admit this because it's true. Both of these bullpens are way better than the Yankees.
Both of these bullpens are probably the best in the bigs.
Yankees are probably 3, but ahead of them are Tampa and Oakland.
It really bothers me. It deeply, seriously bothers me, the fact that the Phillies, with their budget, can't find a scouting department that is as good as the goddamn Rays. I mean, I love their front office. Their front office is magnificent. Their ability to somehow pluck talent from these guys who are either past their prime or just cast-offs. It is impeccable.
That's the mindset that you develop when you're a team unlike the Phillies, who have no money. The Phillies have more than enough money to spend, and when you're a team like the A's or the Rays, you have to go looking in the scrap heap and in the island of misfit toys to try to find that perfect fit. And that's why they're so good at it. Their organization is built around it. You look at the trade they made with Pittsburgh last year. They traded away Chris Archer. Now, obviously, Archer has been a flop in the last 2 years, but he was an established big league starter with big league stuff, and they traded that away for 2 kids from the Pirates who had never panned out yet. Austin Meadows had never gotten a shot, and Tyler Glasnow could not stop walking people. And you know how they've done since they've gone to Tampa Bay? Austin Meadows is an all-star who hit .290 with an OPS over 900, and despite the fact that he was injured, when he was healthy, Tyler Glasnow was unhittable. Triple digits fastball with a big over-the-top curveball from his 6'9" frame. That's such an awkward angle for such a good curveball to come from.
Yeah, 1.78 ERA, only over 12 starts, but 1.78 ERA.
Glasnow is going to be Tampa Bay's Luzardo. Luzardo's going to be the guy coming in for the A's if they need some long relief. For Tampa Bay, it's going to be Glasnow. You know, when this is a do-or-die game and you have to do what you have to do, I mean, maybe they'll bring in Yanni Chirinos, but if you want, maybe, I don't even know who else they might bring in. So I'm going to say it's got to be Glasnow.
It's got to be Glasnow.
It's got to be
Glasnow.
You know what? I think that if he ends up having a great postseason for them, that's going to be their motto for next season.
Got to be Glasnow.
Got to be Glasnow.
Don't get mad. See those kinds of trades.
Don't get mad. Get Glasnow.
Yeah. Well, should we move on to our next team?
Yeah, let's take those are the 2 wild card teams. This is going to be such an exciting game. I can't wait to watch it. Now, the other 3 teams in the American League, the 3 teams that are the quote-unquote heavyweights of this league, let's be clear. The 5 teams in the American League playoffs all won at least 96 games. They're all heavyweights. All right? They're all heavyweights.
And the Rays and the A's, I guess the Rays wouldn't be as good as the Braves. But, I mean, the A's would be the second best team in the National League.
And the Rays would be right behind them at the 3rd best. Well, yeah. They'd be the 4th best because Oakland and Atlanta would be tied. That's on a technicality. But let's work our way up the seeding. Let's start in the 2-seed, 3-seed series. Let's start with the Minnesota Twins.
Twinkies.
The Minnesota Twins. Now, there's one thing that is so evidently clear about this Minnesota Twins team, and it is why some people do believe that this team could go all the way. They are the scariest offense in baseball. Scarier than Houston. Scarier than the Yankees. Scarier than the Dodgers. Why? Because nobody hits more home runs than the Twins. And in a day and age where we're in the fly ball launch angle revolution, home runs are everything. And no one did it better than the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every player they plucked in off the bench or picked up off waivers has sort of seemed to just come alive with their bat. I mean, like Jason Castro, like who the hell is Jason Castro? It's 13 home runs in 79 games. I mean,
Well,
Nelson Cruz.
He's not a nobody.
But he's not a somebody.
No,
Yeah.
well, okay, I get where you're coming from.
But
he's
like
not,
Nelson Cruz
he's no
comes
rookie.
out of nowhere at age 38 with 41 home runs. Everyone
not
kind of thought
surprised.
he was done.
I'm not surprised.
I thought he was done.
I was so surprised. that
Mitch
he
Garver?
hit 40.
I wasn't surprised at all.
I mean, Mitch
thought he could
Garver
do that.
was on pace for something like 47 home runs had he played every game at catcher. I mean, these guys, I mean, no one expected it from just about anyone on this lineup.
No one expected any. The Yankees and Twins were both able to do this, but no one expected a team to hit 300 home runs in a season. People thought it was crazy enough when the Yankees set the major. Was it? Yeah, they
It was
broke the
Major
net.
League record.
They
Major
set
League
the record
record.
with 265, and that record was blown away by a mile and a half at 307. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
The Twins had 8 players hit at least 20 home runs. Mitch Garver, 31. C.J. Cron, 25. Jonathan Scope, 23. Jorge Polanco, 22. Miguel Sano. And you look especially at Sano, where he was last season. He was down in A-ball. 34 home runs. Eddie Rosario, 32. Max Kepler, 36. And Nelson Cruz, 41. What a signing Nelson Cruz was. You look at my favorite thing to talk about in baseball is underrated transactions. You look at the Brewers, how they traded for Jordan Lyles, who was their most consistent starter down the stretch, and Drew Pomeranz, who became their dark horse reliever. You look at the Rays, they traded for those 2 young guys from Pittsburgh, and they signed Charlie Morton. And you look at the Twins. I guess I hear where you guys were coming from, that Nelson Cruz was on the downward trend in his career. His last year with Seattle was nowhere near as good as his first 3. And they gave him a 1-year deal, and look what he does. He's the MVP of the team. Or he's got a real solid...
He would be the MVP of the team.
Yeah.
I don't
Nelson
care if
Cruz.
he's a DH. DHs get undervalued, especially in analytics, but that's kind of something I disagree with. I mean, when you're hitting that
Ben
well...
disagreeing with something in the analytics world.
I know, it's crazy.
Stop the
it is
presses, ladies and
unbelievable,
gentlemen.
but I think DHs get a little bit too heavily undervalued. I mean, I understand that they're not playing defense, but so often they get given negative defensive value. I mean, I understand, yes, it is unvaluable for them to not play defense, but unvaluable? But I mean, still, why does Nelson Cruz have a -9 defensive WAR? He didn't play. What does it have anything to do with anything?
He must have played.
No, he didn't.
No?
No,
Zero
he
innings
didn't.
in the outfield?
For some reason, DHs automatically get given negative defensive WAR.
That's how it'd be.
Because the way it works is because each position gets a positional value. So shortstops get like an extra 6 runs. Right fielders get like an extra 2 runs. Center fielders get an extra 7. First baseman get like a negative like 4. But for some reason, DHs automatically get a -10. I just think they shouldn't be included at all.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But-
I agree with that. It's a valid argument.
But with the Twins, I mean, you're talking about underrated signings. They brought in Jonathan Scope, and he had 23 homers this year. Who thought that?
I know, especially after he had a huge breakout 2017 season, couldn't hit his way out of a paper bag, just like the rest of the 2018 Orioles last year. Comes to the Twins and has a really, really solid year.
Yeah, sure. I mean, struck out 116 times, but that's
Who
today's
cares
baseball.
about
That's
strikeouts?
modern.
Who
That's
even
modern
cares
baseball.
anymore?
I don't.
I do very much, but we don't need to debate this right now. I care
we
very
can get
much
to that
about.
another time. But we will also see La Tortuga in the playoffs.
Is that Jose Barrios?
What? No. Wow, multi. I thought you'd be interested. Williams Astudillo.
Oh, Williams Astudillo.
La Tortuga.
Yeah, hope. He's whatever. He's a position. He's a Bartolo Colon position player.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
it.
yeah. A lot
And
of fun.
Yeah.
He's the next big sexy, which
Yeah.
is whatever. He's
Round
not-
sexy.
No, I mean big
sexy.
sexy.
But I mean, he
so was Bartolo Colon.
Big Sexy Junior. I mean, you can't have 2 Big Sexies.
Sure you can. Big Sexy 2.0. Anyway, my concern for the Twins, and I'm sure that this is the concern for all Twins fans out there, is their starting pitching. It's a common theme with both of the teams in this series, the Twins and the Yankees. There's a lot of common themes here. Common theme 1, the 2 best power hitting teams in the league. Theme 2, 2 teams with really solid bullpens. Common theme 3, 2 teams with very shaky pitching rotations. Jose Barrios is the closest thing they have to a solid candidate, and
Jake
he's
Odorizzi.
okay. Fine, I'll give you that. But yeah, okay, fine. You're right. Those two guys. But behind them, you have Kyle Gibson, who is he's so mediocre. He gives up a ton of hits, and he's just bad. The Martin Perez signing, everybody said, "Oh, Perez has a great chance to bounce back." He didn't. He was horrible, and especially I think this is most important for the ALDS. Perez and Gibson both got beaten up by the Yankees. I think even the Perez started the only game in Minnesota that the Twins won in that crazy series. But even then, he gave up I think 5 or 6 runs in the win. He didn't pitch a good game. The Yankees have always hit Kyle Gibson, and they've always hit Jake Odorizzi too.
Do you think the Twins might go for a bullpen game at some point here? Because I'm sure,
No.
of course, Berrios and Odorizzi
No.
Odorizzi will start, but I
Definitely
don't know. I would be very wary starting Martin Perez.
Me too.
I mean, maybe they'll go with Devin Smeltzer or Randy Dobnak if they're even on the roster.
Randy Dobnak. Do you guys know his story?
I don't actually.
So Randy Dobnak he's 24. He's a rookie this season. I think the story goes that he went undrafted out of high school and college and became a Lyft driver. And then out of nowhere, I think he was pitching in an independent baseball league or something. The Twins noticed him and signed him, and now he's in the big leagues. A Lyft driver with a 4.99% satisfaction rating. 3 years later is a big league pitcher.
What's more impressive, 4.99 satisfaction rating or a 1.59 ERA?
Oh, the satisfaction rating.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
know,
that's.
man.
I just wanted to put that out there.
No,
I was
listen,
glad
it's
you
a-
agreed.
ERA.
No, of course it's the ERA. Come on now.
Yeah,
But it's a
duh.
But it's a great story. They could do that. I just think this is one of the pitfalls of a guy like Perez who's in his position. He is a starting pitcher, and you're paying him like a starting pitcher. You're gonna have to start him in that game, even if it doesn't end up working for them. It's gonna be one game. He's gonna pitch game 4. There's no doubt about it. It's gonna be probably Barrios, Odorizzi, or Odorizzi, Barrios, and then Gibson, Perez.
No, they're only going to need Barrios, Odorizzi, and Gibson. A little sweep.
Yeah, you're out of your mind.
Nah,
You're out of your mind.
I'm kidding.
Like this
Listen,
is going 5 games.
I read an article about this, and this is a very valid point, but we must keep this in mind. The Yankees and Twins in the 21st century have faced off, I think, 5 times, 5 different years. 2003, 4, 9, 10, and 17. What's the common thing with all 5 of those years?
Wait, what years again?
2003, 4, 9, 10, and 17.
3, 4, 9, 10, and 17.
Each year, the Yankees and Twins played each other in the playoffs, and each
Oh,
year the
yeah.
Yankees won. And
Yeah,
all different.
Well, I mean,
and all-
that's a common theme throughout the
exactly.
history of baseball.
However,
Oh, yeah.
the valid point, and this is why I'm so scared for this series, is that no Twins team was anywhere near as good as this one. No Twins team is nowhere near as equally built and equally matched up with the Yankees as this one.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I do at the end of the day think the Yankees are going to come away with this series just because I think the Yankees they've got a great bullpen, they've got so much pitching depth. I think that because James Paxton and Jay Happ were really hot down the stretch, and Masahiro Tanaka is a playoff clutch. He's a player. I won't use that word. He's a playoff ace, and they have Luis Severino back. I think the Yankees have enough pitching to get by, and they can play ball with the Twins. There's no doubt about it.
I think-
Yeah.
Pretty much every game in this series is going to end 12-10.
Oh,
by
without a
one
doubt.
team or another.
No pitcher's going to
it's-
want to look at their ERA.
This
at the
is
end
going to
of
be
the season.
reminiscent of. Not you guys definitely don't know this. 1980 NLCS.
Oh, I remember that like the back of my hand.
Do you know anything about it?
I know it was the Phillies and It was the Phillies and the
Astros.
Yeah.
Yes, every single game or games 2 through 5 went to extra innings, and I believe game 1 was decided in the 9th. I think there was like an average runs per game of like between the two teams of something like 17. But I want to pull this up a second just to give you an idea of what this series is going to look like. I mean, there have seldom been as interesting and exciting a back and forth playoff series as this one.
I'm
But
looking at the scores on your screen, and
I was wrong, by the way.
Yeah, you were. Okay.
I was completely wrong.
Game 1, the Phillies won 3-1, then 7-4 Astros.
In the 10th
then
inning, and then
doesn't matter. Then 1-0 Houston over Philly, then
In the
5-3.
11th inning. Okay, I was wrong about the offense. Never mind.
Sure, these games could all go to extra innings, but
I can.
I will cut off my left hand if one of these games goes 1-0.
Yeah, it won't.
These are the two
never.
most. We're talking about the two most explosive offenses in baseball going up against their opponents' pitching staffs, who can be good but can also be horrible. And you put that's a deadly combination. But what I love most, what I like about the Yankees' chances is that there's a really good chance for this to go well. It could go wrong, but Gary Sanchez is back. They've got LeMahieu, Gregorius, Urshela, Gardner, who's had a career-saving season, Judge and Stanton, and Encarnacion. And Luke Voigt is there too, but another great.
I was gonna say another great
former
Cardinal.
Former Cardinal. I'm only not hyping up Luke Voigt so much because I think he went like 2 for 40 something down the stretch. Yeah. He had a really bad September. Hopefully the playoffs will turn him around. But they've also got the resurgent Cameron Maybin, Clint Frazier, Mike Ford, Tyler Wade, these guys who all came through with big hits at times. And then you look at that bullpen, that top 5 of Chapman, Green, Ottavino, Britton, and Canely. That's scary, man. Oh, that's real scary.
Even when you throw CC Sabathia and J.A. Happ in that bullpen too.
Definitely.
Got you just some length guys there. That's the thing that I like a lot about the Yankees in this series is that they have the ability to really just shorten games.
Oh, yeah.
You only need 3 innings out of James Paxton because you can just run the rest of the game with your bullpen.
For sure.
And throw out different looks for those Twins hitters every time. Sure, they're still gonna score runs, but you can neutralize that offense by just playing the matchups and bringing different guys out pretty much every other inning.
Especially in the ALCS, if the Yankees make it there, it's going to be a little tougher because there's going to be a stretch where you're playing 3 games in a row.
Oh, yeah.
But in the ALDS, where you're never playing more than 2 games in a row, you are completely right. And this is what I think the Yankees should do, and this is what a lot of people are saying should be the Yankees' plan of attack. You need to get 3-4 innings. That's all you need out of your starters. If you can get more, of course, ride that wave. And guys like, when they're on, guys like Tanaka and Severino, maybe not Severino, definitely Tanaka. Tanaka can give you a 7-inning playoff start when he's on because he's so good in the playoffs. But you need 4 innings out of Severino, 4 innings out of Paxton, 4 innings out of whoever's going to start the game.
4 innings is not too much to ask, though.
That's my point. It's not too much to ask, but then because you're never going to play more than 2 games in a row in this series, you can easily find a way to get 5 innings out of Chapman, Green, Ottavino, Britton, and Canely. You can either throw each of them out there for an inning at a time, or you can kind of, Chad Green can easily give you 2 innings, and then you can piece together 7, 8, and 9 with the other 4. Regardless, it's a versatile, deadly back end of the bullpen, and 4 starting pitchers in Tanaka, Paxton, and Severino, they're not aces, but I tell you what, to get 4 innings out of them, 4 innings, 0 to 2 runs, I trust them all to do that. Even against the Twins, I think they can do that. But of course they might not because it's the Twins.
The one issue is that none of them can falter. I understand that they've all been great throughout the season, but if any of them has a bad appearance, that's gonna really be a problem for the Yankees.
Sure, but
yeah. But that's the same for every team ever. Granted,
but the other teams can rely more on their starters. The Yankees,
not the Twins, and that's why
certainly not the Twins.
We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but let's just play the hypothetical game for a second. If the Yankees make the ALCS and they're playing the Houston Astros, let's say, that's what a lot of people are saying is going to be the ALCS matchup. Then in that series, you definitely can't have this mentality, or the World Series. You can't do this. You can't just ask for 4 innings out of your starters. You got to get more. But just for considering neither team has great pitching, both teams, especially the Yankees, have a really good, versatile bullpen. All you need to get through this series is 3 to 5 innings out of your starter each game. That's all you need. Yeah. And again, the more you get, great. But we're setting a baseline. Yeah. That's what you need.
It gets to the point where, especially in a series like this, where we've never seen any team hit 300 home runs in a season, let alone have 2 of them and they play each other in the first round of the playoffs. Nobody knows what this series is going to turn into offensively.
No, absolutely not.
But at that same point, you can't just play your game. It's not any other game once you get to this stage.
No.
Once you get here, you're playing an offense like the Twins. If you're the Yankees, you got to play your opponent. you have to know the strategy you have going into that. And I think the Twins can do a similar thing with their bullpen. I just don't think they're nowhere near as effective as the Yankees can and will be in this series. I think it's still going to go 5 games, but home field advantage, Yankees bullpen, got to give it to them.
See, now, I am convinced that this series will go a maximum of 4. I don't think it's going to come back to New York. I think the Yankees have always owned the Twins at Yankee Stadium. I think it's going to be a slugfest, no doubt. But I think the Yankees can, between Paxton and Tanaka, win both of the games at home. And then at Target Field, that 3-game series was a war of attrition, and the Yankees proved that they can win it. And I think they can win 1 game at Target Field. This game, will the Yankees sweep this series? Probably not. The Twins' offense is too good. They're not going to be able to overcome it all 3 games in a row.
No.
But I think this series, I say Yankees in 4 for this series.
Ben?
I almost don't want to make a prediction. I would say Twins in 5, I guess, but I think with teams like these, it's almost there's almost no way to know. Yeah. I think just putting it that the Yankees can win 2 at Yankee Stadium and one at Target Field. I think it's putting it too simply. I don't have a better explanation. I don't have a better solution, but I don't think there's a way to predict this well, because I think the Twins have a slightly better starting rotation than the Yankees. I think the Yankees have a slightly better bullpen. And
wow.
I think it'll all about even out. I think it'll go 5 games, and my prediction is that the series will go 5 games. I don't want to make a prediction more than that because I don't have a prediction.
I think I have to disagree with you on that standpoint about the Twins having better starting pitching, but
they have the edge, and the Yankees have the edge in the bullpen. I'm not saying it's significantly better. I'm just saying that each team has the edge in their own respective pitching category.
So. I don't know. Kind of take your point about not making predictions. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Exercise.
I just don't. I don't have a prediction.
That's fair. And again, a series like this, we've never seen anything like this before. I'm so excited to see it. And mostly me predicting it's going to go 5 games is me just hoping it goes 5 games. So we can get 5 good quality baseball games out of whatever the series turns into.
Oh, yeah. Watch. You know, this is all the hype is surrounding this series is that this is the 2 best offenses in the AL. Watch it be a pitching clinic.
I mean that would be baseball for you.
Yeah, you could argue this is the 2 most explosive offenses ever.
Yeah, you very well could make
the
that case.
only 2 teams to ever hit
1927
300+
Yankees.
Way better.
I'm curious.
I'd say more explosive. Maybe not better.
Yeah, I mean the 27 Yankees probably hit for a way higher batting average in these 2 teams and struck out way less.
Oh,
but,
well, of course they did.
But in terms of just power and explosiveness, this is the 2 best that the game has ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And if MLB finally admits that the balls were juiced and they correct it, these may be the 2 most explosive offenses ever.
Wow. Okay, I just need to share this stat for a second. Looked up the 1927 Yankees team batting average, including pitchers, was 307. And by the way, the American League did not have the DH then, so the pitchers hit. 307 team batting average, 316 without pitchers.
That's insane. I'm trying to just look at that
just
today.
Stupid.
No, it's not. That's a testament to how the dead ball era worked.
Okay, yeah, but
people didn't strike out back then.
I know, but it has nothing to do with strikeouts.
It absolutely does. People were making more contact, and the more contact you make, the more likely you are to get hits.
Okay, fair, but it's still just stupid. The fact that I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean 307 is a stupid high batting average.
For reference, the highest batting average this season was over 30 points lower. The Twins, the Astros hit 274. And that was the highest batting average in baseball.
What was their team OPS?
848.
Yeah, Yankees was 872.
Well, that makes sense. 30 points higher in batting average, 30 points higher in OPS.
And now, sorry again, but do you have the slugging as well?
Do I have the slugging? 495.
495. They did slug higher than the 27 Yankees, so Astros, you win 1 point there. 488.
I hope they slugged higher.
I hope they do too. Finally, let's conclude this AL playoff preview with the number 1 seed, the most intimidating baseball team in recent memory.
Yeah, I would say
these 2019 Houston Astros.
Most intimidating team since 2001 Mariners. I'm so sorry I cut you off, Mostly. That is you keep speaking.
Well, I love that you brought up the 2001 Mariners because I really do sincerely hope that these Astros follow that team's trajectory which is getting eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. It's not going to happen. I don't know what went wrong with the 2001 Mariners. Nobody really does, but I whoever the Astros end up playing in the division series, whether it's Tampa Bay or Oakland, I would just like to extend my sympathies now, because the Houston Astros very easily, they might not, but they very easily could win that division series in 3 games. Justin Verlander, Game 1, Garrett Cole, Game 2, Zach Greinke, Game 3, bing, bang, boom, that's it.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous to hear that the Astros have those 3 guys. Like, I still struggle to wrap my mind around how just baseball let the Stros get 3 aces on that pitching staff. 3 guys, when in the postseason you only need 3, maybe 4 starters.
Period.
Wade Miley, for that matter, as well.
Wade Miley, I don't put him in the same category.
Okay, of course not.
He
But
had
he's
a
still a
solid-
very good pitcher. He'll
But
probably pitch Game 4.
Well, he had a horrible September, so I don't really care.
But it's entirely conceivable that in the first 2 series, Wade Miley starts 1 game.
Easy.
But
That's entirely possible, and that's terrifying to think about.
that's your 4th starter starting 1 game up through the ALCS, and then assuming they get to the World Series, you're still gonna have to face Verlander, Greinke, and Cole at least once, probably twice each.
Oh, absolutely. So
It's
especially
ridiculous.
if the Astros series ends in 3 games, they'll have a few extra days off before the series even starts.
Yeah.
And so, especially because of that, regardless of who the Astros face if they make it there, the thought of having to face Verlander, Cole, and Greinke possibly as many as 6 times in 7 games is ridiculous.
Terrifying.
It's it is horrifying. And the thing with these guys is that they're not immortal. They're not gods. They'll give up a few runs in a game, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
But the reason they never have to worry about that is because they also have one of the best, if not the best, offense in the American League. The Yankees and Twins certainly have a little bit more firepower, but this team hits for a way higher batting. They hit for a higher batting average, and they don't strike out. They are the first team in the history of baseball to have a pitching staff lead the majors in strikeouts and have an offense that led the league in fewest hitting strikeouts. Wow. It's never happened before.
I didn't realize that. And to think that 1,166 leads the league in fewest strikeouts.
And to think that 1,671 strikeouts led pitching. Now that's of course
That's a lot of strikeouts. That's too many strikeouts, actually.
well. I mean, we can thank the number 1 and number 2 Cy Young vote getters for that. I mean, Verlander and Cole had 626 combined strikeouts.
Speaking of, who do you guys think is going to win the Cy Young between those two?
It's gonna be Verlander.
Garrett Cole.
Ooh. Garrett Cole was, for the majority of the season, the best pitcher in baseball. And I'd say Garrett Cole this season was a better pitcher overall than Justin Verlander. But between the no-hitter and what Verlander means to the game, I think he's gonna get those votes.
See, this is interesting because I'm always by myself in the debate. And see, now I get to choose, do I want to be on Team Garrett Cole or do I want to be on Team Verlander? It is a conundrum.
See, here's why I think Garrett Cole is just so ridiculous. Since the middle of May, somewhere around mid-May, Garrett Cole went undefeated. He went undefeated with an ERA in the high 1s since May. His ERA in June was 1.89 in 6 starts. July it was 1.85 in 5 starts. August 2.36 in 4 starts, and then September 1.07 in 6 starts. You put that together with the 20 wins, the 212 innings pitched, the .89 WHIP. He led the American League in strikeouts per 9. He led the American League in FIP. He struck out 326 batters. He gave up fewer home runs than Verlander. I love Justin Verlander so much, except when my team has to face him. But this has got to go to it has to go to Garrett Cole.
So, my opinion on this matter, the more I look at it, is I think Garrett Cole is more deserving of the Cy Young. I think Verlander is going to win it because he's Justin Verlander. He had his no-hitter, and his even though his ERA is very slightly higher, his WHIP is almost a full .1 lower. But Garrett Cole's FIP, which over 210 innings, which both of them about have, I think FIP just about averages out to a point where it's a usable stat. And Cole's WHIP is, if I could do math, it's going to be, it's
I
something
got you.
like
Mental math, hit me.
3.27 minus 2.64.
That is 0.63.
Wow, that's good.
That was so quick.
Yeah, 0.63.
We didn't edit that. That was just quick.
Yeah, no, that Mulsey has proven to us multiple times he can do math. That is not something I can do. But Cole should win due to his FIP. I think it proves that his season was less luck based, and even though Verlander still, I mean, a brilliant season, I think he'll win it. I think Cole deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Cole.
I can agree with that. I think this is a rare occasion where I completely agree with something you've said. I think you're absolutely right.
I think Cole was the better pitcher. I mean, post All-Star break, a 1.79 ERA. Only 2 guys in the league were better than him. Of course, Jack Flaherty, and then Jacob deGrom. But 156 strikeouts in the second half alone.
Which is a shorter half.
Which a shorter half, and usually strikeout numbers go down because hitters, get a little bit better as the season goes on.
They get more used to you.
They get more used to you. They got more film on you. They just get more in their rhythm. 156 strikeouts in the second half is just a mind-boggling number. And then, the stats go either way. Probably lean Garrett Cole's way overall. But again, Verlander, it's the no-hitter. It's really just the no-hitter.
The problem here is that both of these guys need to win this award, but it can. We've seen co-MVPs once or twice. We've never seen a co-Cy Young Award winner. And if there really ever was a season for there to be a first time for that, it's right here and right now with these two guys, because there are such valid arguments to be made for both of them to win it.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Whatever way you look at it, too. If you look at just wins, if that's the most important thing to you, I know Ben, you love to hear about wins. But Verlander has 21, Cole has 20. They're both 20-game winners. I think they're the only 2 20-game winners in the majors.
Yeah, I mean, that really doesn't happen that often.
It doesn't have that often. Eduardo Rodriguez kind of got a little bit boned by his team there in game 162. Poor guy.
Yeah.
That was neat. But, I don't know. I think it's going to go to Verlander, but I do like the idea of a possibility of co-Cy Youngs.
Absolutely. And, we've been spending all this time talking about the Astros, talking about their starting pitching. Let's not forget all of the horrifying bats that are in this lineup together. Let's work our way up. Starting at the bottom of this already very high totem pole, you have Robinson Chirinos. Decent, he's an average hitting catcher. And that's the worst starting player.
He's an above-average hitting catcher.
Slightly above average.
He is a well above-average hitting catcher.
He had a 105 OPS plus.
Yes, and most catchers generally have an OPS plus of around 90. Is I would say about average.
Okay, the league average is 100, so he was a slightly above-average hitter this season, and that's the worst hitter on this team. You have Yuli Gurriel, who hit 298. He's always hit for a high average, but thanks to the juiced balls, his power game went way up. Jose Altuve, I feel like with the rise of the rookie phenom Yordan Alvarez and George Springer hitting 39 home runs and Alex Bregman turning into the MVP of this team, we've forgotten that Jose Altuve is on this team, guys. He hit he missed a little bit of time, but he's still in 124 games hit 298 with 31 home runs. They have Carlos Correa back. They have Michael Brantley, another one of the best and most underrated offseason signings. Hit 311. He's a machine at the plate. Not to mention they've got Josh Reddick and Jake Marisnick, who will get the job done when you need him to.
By the way, I want to say Josh Reddick. I don't think Jake Marisnick's going to start, but I think Josh Reddick is at the bottom of that totem pole. Below
you're right. You're right. I put him below Chirinos. Marisnick too, but one of them's going to have
one of them will sit, and it's probably going to be Marisnick.
Yeah, probably. But
either way, if that's
your
9-spot hitter, you're not doing too bad.
No, if your 9-spot hitter is a guy with an OPS plus in the 80s, you're in a pretty good place, especially when the other 8 guys,
I also don't think he would be their 9-spot hitter. I think it'd be Aledmys Diaz.
No.
Another former Cardinal. Put him out
there. Where's he going to play?
He's not going to play. He's going to be their 9-spot. Oh, I guess.
He's not DHing.
Well, I mean, George Springer will be. Oh, I see what you mean. Reddick would be their 9-spot hitter, not Marisnick.
Yeah.
So sorry. Their 10-spot hitter would be Diaz. Their 11-spot hitter would be Marisnick.
Yes. Because
There we
for this
go.
playoffs, we're expanding lineups to 11 hitters. You heard it here
Yeah, they
first.
expanded rosters, expanded lineups. Let's go.
So, I mean, yeah, that's all you really need to say about it. The Houston Astros are so crazy, scary that nobody wants to face them. There's a reason this team is favored by just about every expert in this game to win the World Series. And now, of course, you have to take those expert opinions with a grain of salt because that may not happen. The Yankees may be so fueled by revenge that they'll overcome them. The Twins may slug their way past them. Or the Dodgers may get their revenge in the World Series. Or the young Braves may upset them. Or somebody else who I haven't even mentioned will find a way to upset the Astros. It could happen, and that's baseball.
I was going to say, it's got to be Glass now. I think the Rays could take
Gotta be Glass now.
Rays could take him down the ALDS.
Gotta be Glass now.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you can maybe criticize the Astros for is that they don't run a whole lot. That's not kind of the MO of this team.
No.
Their team leading stolen bases was Jake Marisnick with 10. Like
They are, and funny enough, that puts their team total of 67 stolen bases only puts them at 8th, surprisingly enough.
Really?
In the American League, I should say.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, there's no way 8th overall.
I'm pretty sure the Yankees stole fewer bases than that. Let me check that. I think they 100% did. The Yankees only stole 55.
Ridiculous. But they don't run much. But when you as a team lead the league in average OPS, average on base percentage, slugging, and OPS,
You're fine.
You're fine. You're gonna get those runners around the bases somehow. You
You're
don't
fine.
need to worry about running.
Yeah, they don't need guys. They don't need their guys to run. And that's not to take away from the fact that they may not steal bases, but there are some guys on that team who can run. Jose Altuve can run. Josh Reddick and Jake Marisnick are decently fast. George Springer is decently fast. Alex Bregman is also decently fast. He's not slow. They've got guys who can run, but as you said, they don't need him to. So there you have it, folks. That's your basic breakdown of all of the AL playoff teams, all 5 teams. AL wildcard game starts later tonight on October 2nd, 8 o'clock p.m. from Oakland. We hope you all will catch that game because I would speak for all of us that we are all going to try to watch that game. It's going to be so exciting, and that's just going to be the tip of the iceberg in these AL playoffs. And with these 2 wildcard games, we finally hit the tip of the iceberg of baseball's playoffs. And then starting tomorrow, October 3rd, Division Series play begins with the NL teams. And Friday, October 4th, all 4 Division Series will be active, and it'll be a full day of playoff baseball. I can't bleeping wait.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I think I'll do you know, is it continuous games throughout the day? Is it like a game at 1, then a game at 4, then a game at like 5, then a game at like 8? Or
Let's take a look at this real quick, and then we're going to close this one out. Let's see. Friday, October 4th, 2:05, 4:37, 7:07, 9:37.
okay, so I'm just going to sit in front of the TV and just watch my like soul slowly like.
You have a radio show that night.
I do?
Yes,
Friday?
you do.
Oh, Friday. Right, not Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday is only 2 games.
Gotcha. Okay.
Friday, we're going to be at No, we're going to be at the radio show while the Twins-Yankees game is happening.
Oh, Multi.
It's okay. We'll be fine. We will be providing live updates all throughout that game. And Cardinals-Braves will be concluding or will be going on as the radio show is going on. Twins-Yankees will start during the radio show. So very excited for that. But yeah, I think we've said it all. We talked about the NL playoffs a little while ago that they're going to be crazy good. These AL playoffs are going to be just as crazy. Next time you hear from us for episode 4, it will likely be sometime before the World Series. We'll be talking about all the playoffs that have gone down already, taking a look at how teams have done, and then we'll have an idea of who's going to the World Series, and we'll take a look at that. And boy, I just can't wait. So for Ben and Jacob, Daniel Maltz here. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Fair or Foul, and we will catch you next time.